Well, good morning and welcome to Mentorship Monday. My name is Cory Fisk and I'm the founder of Construction Management Online. And we are an education curriculum development company that works on creating construction content that is really specified and made for the construction worker. So what that means is that we develop why am I having such a problem today? I'm sorry. We are developing education, knowledge, and curriculum through the way that construction workers learn best. And really by being able to understand that kinesthetic learners work best through observation, through association learning, and generational storytelling. We're able to provide opportunities to learn more about construction through mentorship, through videos, through short stints of reading in order to be able to get you where you need to be to become a construction manager. So I'm going to go ahead and just start off right there and give you a bonus Monday mentorship. So there's been a few individuals here just in the last week, actually just over the weekend, that have asked me something that I'm commonly asked all of the time. And that is that, I've been working in construction. I have good hands-on experience. I have good knowledge of the order of precedence of work that takes place out in the field. But I really am in a place where I need to move into a management position. And so what I would say is first, a few things. Number one is this really what you want? Or are you just doing this because you think that that's the pathway to more money and more of what you're wanting to have in your life? Because if it's not something that you're going to enjoy, it's always going to be hard work for you. And maybe one of the reasons why you didn't get into management in the first place is because you didn't like reading or you didn't like computers or technology. And so you automatically moved into the construction side. But there's a lot of really great management opportunities available on the construction side that can offer some very lucrative pathways and opportunities for you. So get really, really clear on what it is that you want and why you want this move. The other thing is that always comes into it is, well, I don't even know if I can make a management move because I don't have a degree. And so I think that the industry has been pretty vocal about the comprehension that you don't need a degree in order to be able to become a construction manager. Or in many cases, like myself, you don't have to have a degree in the actual field that you're going to be working as your career. And so the question is, what really is the purpose of a degree? And so what I want to be able to clarify here for you is the understanding that while you were working in the field with your hands and, coming and doing problem solving and, being creative and innovative and, working in that movement type of learning environment, you weren't working the other side of your brain, which is going to have to really focus on documentation, organization, management, communication skills, and things that are going to be able to move you in that management place. And so the really important thing to remember here is if that ever is a place that you want to go, you need to exercise both sides of your brain concurrently while you're walking through life. Because by doing this, it's going to keep you more diverse, more flexible, and it's going to give you the ability to pivot at any moment in time. Now, you don't have to have a degree, but the purpose of college or formal education is so that you can understand the technical construction concepts that are around construction management or project management, which are not things that are taught when you're in the field. So you're taught about how to do that job or how to do that task. And then you pick up through experience how to be able to maneuver through the order of precedence from there. When we're working in construction management, we have to not only know how to read drawings, but we have to know how to be able to interpret those drawings and then be able to compile that information into a document or evidence to be able to push an agenda forward. And so it's not that one is better than the other. They're just different, and they're very different. And so just like in the gym, if you're not exercising a certain part of your body, it's just not going to develop the same as the rest of your body. And this is what happens when we are not exercising both sides of our brain. So it's not that you can't be a construction manager. I have full confidence in you that you will, but hang out till the end of the video and I'll make sure to let you know how you can streamline that path if you would like. So let's jump in, hurry to the questions that we have today. So our first question is, what's the importance of maintaining a paper trail, and are emails sufficient for documenting disputes with subcontractors? Okay, definitely probably one of the weakest points of construction is really recognizing how important documentation is until you need it. And so I was very fortunate very early on in my career to work for the California Department of Corrections. We probably killed a few trees with some of these projects. So they're $250, $350 million projects where absolutely every step is documented. And I was 25 at the time. Remember, I had just moved from being a laborer out in the field into a field management position. I didn't even know how to read drawings. And so I didn't know the purpose of why we were documenting everything. I was just doing as I was told. But after now being able to reflect back and knowing and understanding the importance of having those documents in place when you need them is invaluable. And so this is why when we're writing a daily report, we're not just going out there and documenting how many workers are there, what was the weather like, who was working on what. We want to be able to document it from the perspective of what would happen if someone was reading this report 1 year from now or 8 years from now. How would they interpret this report, and what information do I want them to glean from this report that I'm writing? Do I want them to see that it's been weeks since the contractor has been on the job site and that they've failed to meet the contractual schedule that they committed to at the beginning of the project? Do I put that there's only 3 electricians when we talked about in the coordination meeting that they were going to have a crew of 6, and that the 3 that are here are only apprentices and there is no journeyman guidance for them? So what kind of things are you writing in your daily report? What was the weather like? Now, if it was raining, was there any work taking place? Was that work taking place on the exterior or the interior? Was the exterior being torn up at the time that they were working on the exterior? So all of these types of things put into your daily report is going to create a historical record of the progress of this project that's going to give you a place to be able to jump back to in time should you ever need it. Now, are emails sufficient for documenting some of this? They're a lot better than text, okay? So I would say that, but literally anything that you write on is viable for a legal entity to come in and confiscate in order to be able to support evidence for their case. I remember getting in trouble one time because I didn't know, but I had one of those big calendars on my desk. And on those calendars, I would identify points of things that I needed to do or that needed to be on my checklist. And there wasn't that there was anything good or bad on my calendar, that it was made very clear that that calendar, and I know it was a long time ago, but we used to actually write dailies in our own like little calendar business book, that they could confiscate the calendar on my desk and my personal notebook. And so making sure that when you do document anything for a construction project, that you want it to be captured in an electronic format, and you would prefer that electronic format has a few different things. first and foremost, an organization or management way of being able to filter for information in regards to the specific topic that you're looking at, that it is able to have an identifiable title and possibly even a number associated with it, and that you can interlink or connect it to all other documents that are going to support it or at least explain the story of that particular issue. And so an email is a perfect way to do this, but I think we also need to recognize that emails are very dangerous, right? Because sometimes we'll just shoot off an email and not really think about it. And the way that we write it may not be the way that we wanted it interpreted. So very carefully, we need to make sure that we write an email, sit on it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, go back, reread it again, make sure that it is a professional, take the emotion out of it, only responding to the experience and being able to use that to document. The other thing we need to be careful about is sending off 10 emails on a single subject. So every single one of these emails has the potential of contradicting other things that we're trying to say. So making sure that we have one email that is clear, has our position, makes our points, and then anytime that somebody comes back with something, we just simply reference them back to the original email. I'm sorry, but our position stands based on the email sent yesterday at 10 a.m. November 1st. Okay. So emails are a perfect way to be able to document that. If it is something that you feel is really going to be a litigation issue, then following that email up with a letter of correspondence and really just stating your position is a really good way to go. Anytime that we don't get a response to something, there's an industry standard assumption that there is acceptance of that particular document. Obviously, that's not always true, but that is what we want to do to keep the other side on their toes and ensure that we have all of the information surrounding this one particular issue. So emails are okay for documenting. All right, so let's go to the next question. What strategies do you recommend for managing utility connections and approvals, especially with challenging entities like PG&E? Okay, so PG&E is a big electrical company that we have here in Central and Northern California. And you probably have heard about them because of a lot of the issues that they've had with being blamed for potential fires and that type of thing, for older transformers blowing up and causing sparks. And so they're doing a lot of work right now, a lot of rework, and trying to put as much as they can underground. And so their work focus has shifted. And so really being able to understand that they're now performing work that is a little bit different than what they have done in the past. But in the same sense, it is very much the same because they use a lot of consultants and subcontractors to do their work. So in this sense, they're kind of performing different scopes of work, but with different consultants, different subcontractors. And so when we understand that they're going through a learning phase right now, then we can understand that there's going to be some things that are going to take a long time to go through some of their processes. Believe me, there are things that they are currently working on that have been in a process of improving for over 8 to 10 years. And so it's very frustrating when you put an application in with PG&E and learn that they're still trying to learn the software that they are using in order to be able to evaluate your drawings. But in order to be able to get through this, we need to understand that this is something that's very common with a lot of public utilities. And so these are the hiccups that we're going to be running in when we're working with these, conglomerate big types of corporations. And so when we're working with any of these, the most important thing is communication. And that communication means that you are that little, Chinese torture tool that's just peck, 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 peck. So making sure that you make that call, follow it up with an email, follow it up with another email. Make sure that you have a record of the history of the dates of when that contact took place and what happened during that contact. Were you told that it was going to take an additional 2 weeks? Were you told that it was going to take an additional 6 weeks? And so just being able to help them see that they're being tracked and there's a record of their performance that is being really documented, then that is going to help improve their focus on making sure that they take care of you and that you get yours done. But you always also need to ensure that you have everything lined up on your side. So that means that your application is being filled out properly and it's being turned in early in order for you to be able to have the support or stance of being able to really pick on them for them not being able to do their portion. You don't want to be picking on someone and then have it thrown back in your face that you're the one that was delaying the process, right? So just making sure that you have good open communication. Many of these individuals want it off their desk just as badly as you want it to be off their desk. So working with them, making sure that they have all of the information they need, making sure that you've provided them with any type of consultant support, drawings, one-line diagrams, any kind of clarity on the site that they're going to be going to. Also trying to maybe identify some other projects that are in the same area that your project is in so that they can see the two birds with one stone approach, that when they're going out to another project, yours is right there. So they might as well just take a look at it as well. So I know that it can be challenging, but the only way to be able to really take care of it is to stay on top of it and ahead of it. So doing everything that you can there. So there's really not much more to that. I mean, obviously, there's always favorites that are being played one way or another. You don't want to depend on that. You just want to make sure that all of your paperwork and everything being done on your side is clear, that it's complete, and that it's all been submitted proactively and early. Okay, so how do you develop effective contingency plans and risk management strategies for construction projects? Well, here's the thing, is that you can't beat experience. You have to have experience when you're in the construction industry. And I know that this causes a lot of people to freeze up because in that moment, they're thinking, I don't have enough construction experience to be a construction manager. And that's not true. We've talked about that in other episodes of construction is about processes, procedures, systems, and ensuring that you're doing everything you can to calculate through those systems and then bringing your personal experience in order to be able to enhance the effectiveness or success of that system. And so you don't have to know everything there is to know about construction before becoming a construction manager. But having that experience and your experience lessons learned from other projects is really what's going to help you to be able to understand in the moment what needs to be done and how you need to take care of it in order to be able to move this issue forward. And so really recognizing that contingency is a plan. It's kind of something that you only use if you have to. And so by identifying a contingency, it doesn't mean that this is actually the way the work's going to go. It just means that it's something that you've thought about and that you will have an outline of what needs to be put in place should an emergency arise. Okay, so an emergency plan, a site safety plan, all of these are examples of contingency plans in order to be able to keep your project moving forward. Now, risk management, I will tell you that no matter what job you're on, there is something called unforeseen conditions that is something that you're likely going to run into. So for your particular job, there's already an industry standard list of potential risks associated with that job. So for instance, if we're doing a trenching job, or if we're doing a road creation, then we're going to want to know the soil conditions. Soil conditions are going to have a lot of potential risk around them, depending on whether or not it compacts well, how many big rocks are in it, what kind of soil are we working with, in order to be able to determine how much engineered fill has to come in, how much base rock we need to bring in, how deep we need to dig, what size of equipment do we need to do that. So these are all known factors around unforeseen or unknown conditions. And so this risk management, and being able to know the potentials that can come up in your job, are going to be able to allow you to reduce the risk associated when something like that happens. So I'll just give an example. We had a project that the geotech report had identified that there was some murt on the project. So we knew that if we drilled down to 8 feet, 10 feet, we were probably going to hit some really, really hard rock that would require some drilling, maybe even some blasting, in order for us to be able to clear certain areas of this park that we were creating. And so if in having that information and knowing that that was the case, we could go back to the designer and be able to say, hey, look, I know you guys show an 8 to 10 foot retaining wall over in this area, which means that you plan on digging down that deep. But we found in the soils report that at about 6 feet, it's going to start getting really tough, because we're going to be hitting rock that is almost unbreakable. And it's going to cause our whole project to shut down. So we can either design around it, or we can identify a lump sum amount of money that we're going to dedicate towards that if we really feel that that's what we want and that's what's important. And so being able to strategize that and talk about it before it happens is crucial. And so this is the fun part of construction, right? When we get to use our mind and be able to kind of think and prepare ahead, where we strategically and intentionally plan out our means and methods of how we're going to be producing this particular project. So if you want to strategically and intentionally think about how you want to design your future, then you might want to join us in our next cohort, which is going to be starting November 18th. We do have limited seats available, but you can still get on the wait list. But it is going to be absolutely amazing. Really excited about the continued improvements that we have with this program. It is getting everything that you need to know in that first year of construction and providing a really solid, wide, deep spread footing so that you can really accelerate your vertical personal growth. And so this is a 12-week program, and really would love to be able to see you in it. Then if you can't do that, we do have something, and we're actually doing a holiday special on our monthly membership for the Skill Builder. Our Skill Builder is a library of resources that provides task-specific training that really gives you the opportunity to sit down and be walked through different tasks that are commonly used in the construction industry. And this gives us the opportunity to be able to help interns, apprenticeships, anyone who's shadowing a superintendent, where they need to really go off and do their own job and their own work, and often leave somebody to their own tools in the office trailer trying to figure something out. So these are short mini courses, and they are able to take you through how to do different things like creating a product submittal, understanding how to master change orders. And so really would love to be able to see you in our Skill Builder membership. We will see you next Monday here at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for Mentorship Mondays. I want to remind you to subscribe to our Construction Management Online newsletter and our YouTube if you're looking for additional support in your growth as a construction manager. So we'll see you next week. Have a great week.